Hello and welcome back to What's Bubbling in ZIM. I am Dr. Abstract, and in this bubbling we're happy to announce the launch of ZIM 019. Let's go to the ZIM site now at zimjs.com, and we have a new version, ZIM 019. You can get to all of the features for that here, or right now here in this banner. And what we'll do is we'll give you an overview of what's new in this bubbling, and then we'll do individual bubblings on each of them. We have a glitch happening up here at the top, which is cool. There's the glitch down there, so we'll show you that. Let's start at the cheat sheet. And the cheat sheet is a good overview of all of the things, or most of the things, that are available in ZIM, and you can press on it and get the code and copy that code, and paste it into the editor, which is up here. Or you can go see more about the docs, and there's all of the shapes and components, the display objects, all laid out in that one. And then over here, there's all of your controls. So it's kind of neat to see all those together. And hopefully this will be handy for people, certainly as they're starting ZIM, or maybe even as they're going along. And lots of links up at the top as well. But we'll take you through each of these individually as well when we do individual bubblings. Here is the shuffler, and happy holidays. The shuffler lets you shuffle things that are different sizes. So these are different sizes, and it knows if you've unshuffled. So there's our tree, and here's some more, again, things that are different sizes. Whereas the scrambler is very similar, but the scrambler only would work if the columns were, like if I were shuffling columns here, they had to all be the same size. Or if I were shuffling rows, they had to all be the same size. But it has very similar things. You can shuffle them again, or reshuffle, etc. And you can solve, and you get an event when it's solved. So quite similar. All right, let's go back. And here is shader channels. So shader channels is what has allowed some of these other things, such as the glitch and perspective, to be done. We figured out how to apply shaders to ZIM display objects, and that means we can apply these effects to even live ones. So for instance, here is an animation there in ZIM, and we're applying the shader effect to that animation. So that's very cool, and you can even apply shader effects to shaders, so other shaders as well. All right, let's head on back, and here's perspective. So can you guess how we made this perspective? So that's neat. We haven't had perspective on the canvas, but now we do, and we've created a tool that allows you to play around with this perspective as well. It is quite a versatile tool where you can code all these corners, or not even see the corners at all. This is what's happening when we've got that perspective. Ooh, isn't that neat? So that's a shader, and we're using ZIM controls on that shader to be able to make, much like we have blobs and squiggles, we can make that in perspective. So we'll show you some code and how all that works a bit later, but isn't that neat? And then glitch. Same deal, where we're applying a shader to ZIM interactive objects. This is an interactive list, and you can see that we're applying different glitch effects to that list, and that's a 9 or a 10 because here is no glitch. So there's the list with no glitch, a list with 3 glitches. We're also glitching our logo up here. We did okay. I mean, we tried to find the best glitches that we could find at the time. There's another setting too, which some of these have sort of different types of glitches. Like this one has more interface lines, it looks like, whereas this one maybe features more of the blocks. So this is a fine control on a secondary feature in a sense. This last one's, it's okay. It works better on video. So things that are moving, like as it moves, these little circles, the halftones change. You see how they're getting bigger and smaller. Anyway, I like the other glitches a bit better. But the point is, you can find any shader and have that operate on ZIM display objects now by providing the display objects as channels. So that's the shader channel one. We did perspective and glitch. Monitor is something different. So here's monitor. Monitor is showing you how many objects we've got going at different levels. So if we go to level 2, we've got 11. If we go to level 3, we've got 14. If we go to level 5, there's 16. 5 or 24. It updates every, well, this is the batch time, 1 second. And then it's also showing how many events have been added, how many Create.js events, how many of your app events. So that's kind of neat to see as well. So this will allow you to track how many events you've got on, how many tickers you've got on, how many intervals you've got on, and can help find runaway code. It also shows in the console, but we'll take you through the console version in the bubbling. And you can filter any of those, and you get performance, the 60 frames per second, and memory tests as well. All right. By the way, memory tests sort of flush eventually, and sometimes it's down at 20, and sometimes it's up and it'll clear. It just sort of has its own thing going on. Okay, so that's the ZIM monitor. And then we have isometric assets that we brought in by this guy called Kenny. So we processed these 3D models and created some blocky isometric models for you, but through his thing. But mind you, we did have to process looking each of the ways there. And then he's got a bunch of assets like roads and cars and et cetera, et cetera. We are planning on doing some work on isometric because as we went to put this together, it's a pain in the neck to sort of say, okay, which way is this road facing, and which quadrant is it on, or which tile is it on, blah, blah, blah. So that's why people make tile map programs. So we will be doing some tile map work in the new year to make creating these types of tiles helpful. But what we did in ZIM to make the change to allow this to work is, unfortunately, these models, it seems we didn't realize this, unfortunately these models all are at different angles. I mean, bunches of them are at the same angle, but then another bunch is at a different angle, and it's like, so we had to adjust our board here, our isometric board, to be able to adjust that ratio. And so that's what we've done, and now each of these things, they come with the angle. There's a big zip file of 60 megabytes of stuff, lots of them, thousands and thousands of files. So there are sprite sheets. So some of these are coming from sprite sheets, and we've included the angle on them so that you can then set that in your isometric board. All right, there are the main updates as to what's going on with ZIM. There's also, as always, going into the updates, and you can read about them and see them, and we've got the pictures in there as well when we do that. Here are the updates, and there's the shader channels, the perspective, glitch, along with some code examples, the cheat sheet, the isometric stuff, game assets, the shuffler, the monitor, syntax coloring, and so there's a bunch of other things, and why don't we do a bubbling specifically on anything that's not one of the main updates, because there are some pretty cool updates in here that you'll probably want to know about. Okay, so we've got a set of bubblings coming up. Once again, you can reach it here, but it's also in the About section here. If you scroll on down in the About section, boop, doop, doop, there's the ZIM 019 and the things that have been happening since then. We also have put these pop back up into the examples. The newer ones are shown here in the examples, but also down underneath the collections. There's the cheat sheet, and here's the 019 collection as well. We did bring in, just before we forget as well, a bunch of CodePen examples here. So all of these guys are CodePen examples that are new, right up to about where here, I think, the scary looking guy. So that's 30 or 40 new CodePen examples as well over the last year or so. All right, welcome to ZIM 019. I am Dr. Abstract. This has been a What's Bubbling at ZIM, our 019 launch. Come on in and join us at the forum, zimjs.com/forum or forum.zimjs.com, or right up on the top or on Discord. Say hi and check out what we've been saying about the new features in the forum as well. Cheers. Have a great day or night. Ciao.